3 tips, 3 ideas to get your team motivated, to get them into massive action. Some of us, I know you're going to say, I wish I could just find people like me. I wish I could just find people that are motivated. Yeah, but it doesn't always work that way. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you have to be the one leading by example. You have to be the one showing people what it takes. And there are some different ideas, some different things that you can do to lead by example, or different things you can do to inspire, motivate that team that you have or that you want to have. So first of all, what we do quite a bit on our team is we do this 100 box challenge, which is what? It's a 100 box challenge, challenging people to create 100 conversations. And I really like this because sometimes people overthink, like, what do I say to people? How do I engage people? How do I get people interested? How do I find people? Well, why don't you start with the existing network of people you have, right? What's the point of building a new following? People will say, well, I need to find new friends, new followers. I need to, find people that are open. I need to find people that are motivated. Well, start with your existing friends. Like, what's the point of having new friends and new followers if you ain't going to talk to the ones you've already got? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Like, why try to attract 1,000 new people or even 10 new people if you won't talk to the 10 or the 1,000 you're already connected to? So this 100 box challenge is challenging people to just create 100 conversations. So a lot of times we'll do this for 7 days or like the first week of the month, because it really gets people into action. And starting those conversations is great because some of those conversations, of course, they lead nowhere, but some of those conversations lead to customers. It leads to people that are, maybe open to the opportunity, maybe that you can add to your ATM groups. Bottom line, creating conversations is a major key to success. So that 100 box challenge, actually, if you're like, well, what's a 100 box challenge? Like, what does that look like? We actually have that on our resources page on our My Lifestyle Academy website. So if you go to myLifestyleAcademy.com/resources, you'll see, if you scroll, you'll see the 100 box challenge. You can download that and use that for your own team if you want. Second idea, how about a 14-day video and prospecting challenge? We just launched that with our team. Why do we do that? Because it makes sense to do videos. It makes sense to put your face on camera and tell your story and share tips and, put your personality out there and share your authentic self. I cannot think of anything more powerful for social media than doing videos. Obviously, reels, lives. I'm telling you, a 14-day video and prospecting challenge could be just what your team needed. Another thing that you could do, how about bonuses? How about prizes? How about incentivizing action taking, right? Maybe you do a promo for a certain rank. If everybody hits this rank, or whoever hits this rank this month gets entered to a raffle to win this free prize, this $1,000 bonus. Maybe you get together with your teammates, right? You get together with your upline, your downline, and you come up with some prize ideas, some incentives, gifts. Sometimes it's just like a coaching call, like anything to incentivize people to take action or hit a certain rank, right? When you put out that little carrot, you put out that extra little incentive, it gets people to take action that maybe they wouldn't have without it. Does that make sense? So those are 3 ideas to get your team to take action. Now here's a bonus tip. I'll give you a 4th tip. If you really want to get your team motivated, I can't think of anything more powerful, anything that's had a bigger impact than this one thing. There's nothing more powerful than getting a person to attend an event. It could be a Super Saturday, could be like your annual conference, whatever it is, like an in-person training. We just did a huge one a couple weeks ago in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And guess what? The people that were at that event are the most committed, the most fired up. They went from asking questions to answering questions. They went from making excuses to making it happen. They went from being a liability to an asset. They're the most inspired. You know how many people told me I needed that training? I am so glad I went. I'm so glad I met you. I'm so glad I met this person and heard this person's story. And there's nothing more powerful. We have our big annual conference in our company. I know a lot of you have your big annual conference coming up. And guess what? The people that are at that event are going to be the ones that have the most momentum in 2024. They're going to be the ones that are the most inspired. They're going to be the ones taking the most action because they caught the vision. They see where the company's going. And most of you have in-person events. Most of you have your annual conference coming up. And some people will say, well, John, I'm registered. Cool. Who are you bringing with you? We're not talking about you. We're talking about your team. You're trying to motivate your team? Get the people on your team to go. Even if you have to all split a hotel or you have to drive 17 hours, it's worth it. I always tell people when we have a big event, I'm like, I'm not telling you to move to California or move to wherever that event is. I'm just telling you to go there for a weekend. I can't afford it. Can't afford to miss it. I don't have the money. All the more reason to go. The tickets are expensive. All the more reason to go. If you can't afford the tickets, you can't, it's amazing how people will spend $50,000 to start a business, $50,000 to go to college or whatever. And then it's like, oh, I got to spend $500 for a hotel or $2,000 for a flight. I mean, look, it depends on how bad you want it. But if you're not where you want to be in your business, I can't think of anything that motivates more, that inspires more, that helps more people than in-person events. If you want to change your life, you want to improve your results, you have to be committed to the in-person events. And you got to bring people. Now, again, it's not for everybody. I'm just talking to those of you that want more. You want to be more motivated. You want your team more motivated. You want to be more inspired. You want your team more inspired. You want your team to be more all in, more sold, more convinced, more inspired long-term to build something. The events do more work for your business than anything you could do individually. You got to get in the room. You got to be with the people. Proximity is power. Feeding off the energy, hearing the story, shaking the hand. And by the way, a lot of you also need to focus. This is the problem I also see in this day and age. People want to be influencers, affiliate marketers, network marketers. They want to sell solar and real estate and all these different things. This is also why you struggle, because you're all over the place. You're all over the place. Like, people look at your social media, like, I don't know what that person does, what they're focused on. Like, I'm confused. Confused people do nothing. You focus on one thing and you go all in 2024, you're going to separate yourself from the competition.